Can I breathe now? Alright. I'm allowed to breathe. What's up, guys? Pack here with another review for you in the heat of the summer movie season. And today on opening day, I got to check out Dunkirk, which is, of course, directed by Christopher Nolan. Dunkirk picks off in World War II, where 400,000 men are trapped on a small island named, the title of the film, of course, and they have no way to get home. They are right on the brink. They are so close to getting there. It's a mix of the French and British army, but they have no way of getting there since they are deserted with not enough resources, boats, ammunition. They're still being ambushed by the enemy, which is closing in. They're completely surrounded, so in turn, home comes to rescue them. Starting off, what I loved about this movie, I was just so excited to go see it, because Christopher Nolan is my favorite working director. The man knows how to direct. I am so happy that the more I grow to love how movies are put together, the more I appreciate his films, and he brings it once again in this movie. Starting off, what I loved about it is its cinematography. It is shot so well. Every frame, I watched this movie very carefully, and every frame this movie is near flawless in the sense that every frame, every decision that's in camera is perfect, and it goes with the theme of the movie. It builds suspense, and especially a great shout out to the visual crew of this movie. This movie has some especially impressive dogfights, some very impressive aerial battles where it's shot so uniquely because it constantly switches perspectives. It constantly shows you like the front of the plane, the back of the plane, the cockpit, all the different areas of the plane where it's taking fire. It never made a dogfight boring, or it never made it get old, because there were so many different angles in the way the fight was shot. It just made it such a spectacle and such a joy to watch. Speaking of intelligent decisions, the music of this movie, once again, Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer are the dream team. The music goes so well with this movie. It builds suspense. It puts you in the moment from the opening shot of this movie. From the opening shot. And once again, Hans Zimmer is very heavy with the strings to build the suspense where the enemies are closing in and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to survive or not. And the music is just paired so well with this movie. It's between this and... I have to re-examine this soundtrack, between this soundtrack and Interstellar, which is going to be up there for my Chris Nolan, Hans Zimmer tracks. But anyway, another thing that was awesome about this movie is just the unique way Christopher Nolan knows how to tell a story. So as I recap the plot briefly, the story is relatively simple. Men are trapped, they need to escape, and it's essentially a rescue film. Because reinforcements on their side come to rescue them and take them home. It's essentially a rescue film, which is very simple in concept. On paper, it's very simple, but how Chris Nolan tells the tale, it makes you have to think. It demands your attention. I had a big smile on my face from the first 10 to 15 seconds of the film because it set the tone. It set the tone so well with its eerie score and just blank shots where their characters are just walking through a wasteland. What makes the story so compelling is the various, kind of like the dogfights, what makes the story so compelling is the various perspectives, the various angles which the story takes. The story isn't chronological. It starts off with this incident occurring, and then it shows you a week before that time, a day before that time, an hour before the incident. And you really have to pay attention because you're like, wait, I see where this is going, but are these time marks going to be essentially the acts of the film? Is it going to be like, okay, we're going to spend a lot of time on what happens in a week? And it wasn't like that, so I really had to pay attention, but I liked that it commanded such my attention. The brilliant storytelling, the amazing score, and the cinematography. I also have to give a huge shout out to, I'm not going to go and list all the performances, I'm just going to say the performances across the board, as usual in a Chris Nolan movie, was amazing, especially by Cillian Murphy as this damaged soldier. what's interesting is that you don't become too attached to these characters because they're such brash personalities. You hardly even, what interested me is you hardly hear names. You hardly hear the names of soldiers dropped. You just see them. Although you don't know much about them, you still root for them, and you still care for them just because of the intensity of this film. This film is intense. As I started this review, I was like, just thinking about how I was in the theater, and I was like, okay, this movie really demands your attention. Not just the score and the cinematography. Every part of this movie demands your attention, and it blew me away, honestly. I wasn't ready. I was not ready for how good this movie was gonna be. Guys, Dunkirk had an amazing story, great performances across the board. It was incredibly intense. It put you in the action, it put you in the moment, and there wasn't any pacing issues. I felt like the movie could keep going. There were a couple of moments where I felt like the film could have ended, but when it kept going, I was excited. I didn't want it to end because it just got better and better. It crescendoed. The story builded on itself so well. The music was amazing, so was the cinematography. There is no complaints I have about this film. Like most of Nolan's films, he is just a class act. He is so masterful of knowing what constructs a good film. I'm gonna give Dunkirk a perfect 5 out of 5 stars. Of course, there are always things you can nitpick on and things around the first time, but I had a great time. I was completely satisfied as a moviegoer. It was intense, it was thrilling, it was just an epic scale, and it made you care about the grave danger that these characters were in, because although this movie is based on a true story, there weren't a lot of references like to presidents or something like that, which reminded you, oh wait, this really happened. It was just the event and the danger itself. I absolutely love this film. July is a great month for movies. This summer movie season is turning out to be awesome. This is the third film this month alone that I have given a perfect 5 out of 5 stars to. It's not like I'm just giving away ratings, but I have to be honest. This summer movie season is killing it. I immensely enjoyed Dunkirk, and I cannot wait for what else is in store for the rest of the summer. Alright guys, I am Pac. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective, and I'm out for now.